Hello, everyone. It's Michele Maher here, and today I'm joined by Kevin Benevides. Thank you so much, Kevin, for giving me your time today to talk about these, times that we're going through right now and how to keep a positive mindset while figuring out how to get creative in your pivoting in your business and in your life. So
Yeah,
thank you for joining me, Kevin.
thank
If you
thank
want
you,
to,
Michelle, for reaching out and having me here to talk because I think it's a really important thing for us to be discussing, and everybody try to help each other out with something that's unprecedented, like never happened in any of our lives, right? So
no,
it's been definitely a learning period for everyone, a period of growth if you've wanted to take it that way. And yeah, I'm looking forward to talk about it. So for myself, I am business-wise, freelance, social media manager, consultant, and I am also a graphic designer. So I combine all three together to help people with their branding and with their social media presence. So that's business-wise what I do, and personally, I have a family, three children, and my wife, a dog and a cat. Yeah, so combining everything together with what we've all been experiencing on this planet with the pandemic, it's been difficult, but at the same time, rewarding in a way. But yeah, at first, as we were talking before we recorded, like the first initial when everything started shutting down, the school started shutting down, the business started shutting down, and you know the virus was spreading at the time in March, I think. It was a really fearful time because of the messages were being what that was coming our way with social media and with the media, and obviously being in the unknown of what this was. Not to the point that we even know what it is yet, but at least we have a better gripping of it. So yeah, I was in a fear state and a lot of anxiety, which I've dealt with years ago. And that obviously affected myself, my business, and my family. But, I have overcome it in the past. So I knew what to do to help myself out. So within a couple of weeks, I was feeling much better, and able to be more level headed to move forward with what I was doing with my business and obviously taking care of my kids. Um,
right.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, I think it was the case for everybody. It was everything was changing so quickly. It was almost like hour by hour there were changes happening, and I felt like the first those last 2 weeks of March to me felt like 6 months long or something for
oh,
all for how many things got changed.
yeah,
It started,
yeah,
and for me, like I said, I just felt compelled to determine some way to serve and to help others. And so I started doing this interview series because I knew that there's so many incredible entrepreneurs that I know, and I knew that people had to hear the message that you're not alone in what you're feeling.
definitely.
It was,
Yeah,
we've never gone through anything like this, and let's hope we never do again either in our lifetime. But it's been challenging. It was challenging for sure, and it's understandable that our emotions would be all over the place at the beginning, and fear, of course, would be
completely
there because
understandable.
all of a sudden we've lost we such a change and so much control lost. Like we lost every ounce of control we possibly had to an unknown future, and then we're told to stay at home except to
Yeah,
go to the grocery store. And
exactly.
so yeah, that's it was yeah, it definitely was. So what I found is it was very important to get into some sort of routine because with the kids being home and everybody being home and all of a sudden a full house and whatever and trying to navigate, I thought that I felt that a routine was key. Getting up at the same time each day,
So important.
getting dressed, getting ready for the day really set the tone for the rest of your day.
Yeah,
Because it was so tempting to just stay in bed
so,
and watch Netflix, really.
exactly. Yeah, and I think maybe some of us we maybe even did that for in the
And
first
yeah,
little while, and that's what we needed to do. But yeah, I agree that the routine is so important, especially for anybody who wasn't working from home and all of a sudden maybe they were blessed for the fact that they were able to work from home instead of being laid off. And so all of a sudden, I've never worked from home. How do I do this? Right. For myself, I was okay because I was working from home for many years now, for a few years now. So the transition, there was no real transition. It was the transition of just having the kids with me the whole day. Right. And having to deal with that. So yeah, I think the same thing after maybe not even the first week or 2 weeks, it was just like, okay, 9 o'clock, we're working, like aim to be sitting down in front of the computer at 9 o'clock. And some days it would happen at 9, some days it would happen at 9:30, but at least the aim and the goal was that, right? To get up, to get dressed. And that's an important thing is that, for us to take care of ourselves, just like we would before, get up, have your breakfast, do your hygiene, get changed away outside of your pajamas and put clothes on, even though nobody's going to see you. But that's an important thing because it changes something mentally with us.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So that, definitely that was something that that I had to do for myself. And again, yes, because everybody was home and there was no rushing. It was so easy to just say, no, we don't need to, I'll work later or whatever. But no, that schedule really helps. And it's helped me and my family. And I just found that the days were longer for us just because the kids were around. Obviously they need our attention and need to be taken care of. So much breaking up of the day within the day. So something that would take you 5 hours to work on took you 8 or 9 hours to work on because it's just the way it was, right? And it still is. And it still is. But yeah, I think one of the things is the fact that is the acceptance. I think acceptance is such an important thing, is when you accept, okay, this is the reality right now. If you don't want to say it's the reality forever, which I don't think it is, this is just a temporary thing, but accepting that this is what it is. So once we accept, and then it's like, okay, what do I have to do now for myself, for my family, for my business? And then move forward, accepting that. Because if we're fighting against what's happening, then that resistance is just going to cause stress and it's not going to help us. So just accepting,
stress and worry, which affects your immune system, which is what's not going to help, which affects your health, which of course is not what you want. Yeah, exactly. Of course.
So coming to acceptance of it is the thing. And for for myself with the kids, them stopping when they started schooling online schooling, it was like, oh, they need my help now, and there goes 30 minutes. Now I gotta get back into my routine. Is accepting that that's happening, right? Because if we I know I shouldn't be doing this, I need to be working, I need to be then we're like, it just wears you down. And I did that for a little bit, but then it was just like, no, I just have to accept this is what it is. This is the reality of right now. So that was a huge thing for me, is just accepting that this is it. And if it takes me, if I only get 2 tasks done instead of 4 tasks, then that's what I get done today. Because the stress doesn't help us at all, right?
No, it doesn't. And that's the whole thing. I think at first, a human tendency is to resist. And that's what it was at first. Resistance, as well as the fact that we thought that maybe it was going to be a 3-week shutdown, because that's kind of what we were told at the beginning. And it seemed like we could, if we all stay home for 3 weeks, then we can go back out and we can go back to how it was. That's what people were saying, which now we know is not the case, and not ever going to be the case, really. Because we've also, at the same time, we've found better ways to do things.
Yeah,
in so many manners.
I think there's been a lot of positives that's come out of everything that's happened in the last 3 months. And I think one of them is the mentality shift for a lot of people and business owners and companies, to the fact that, wait a second, I can work, I can do exactly what I was doing in the office, I can do it from home. And for some people, that's a good thing. Some people it's not. Some people actually like going out and being in an environment with more people, with other people, and that's cool.
Yes.
And then there's other people that they just do that because that's just the normal of what that job entails.
That was the only choice.
That's the only choice. But now it's waking up a lot of people's eyes to, wait a second, I can work from almost anywhere as long as I have a computer and internet connection. And that's one thing that was my vision years ago for myself, and that what I've worked towards and already had been before all this, is the fact that I just want to work whenever I want, pretty much wherever I want. I just need a computer and an internet. And one stat that I heard, whether it's a true statistic or not, was the percentage of a workforce that will never go back the way it was before. Like car dealerships will not have salespeople on the floor like they did before. They only need one or two, and then the rest could be at home because they could do everything over the internet. But a lot of businesses just realizing that, why do I need such a big office space to house all these employees when we function fine, from different locations, and maybe we just need to meet once or twice a week, kind of thing. So I think that's for me, that's a great thing. It's a great thing for our environment because we're not driving our vehicles every day in and out. It's amazing for us as individuals, because like, who really wants to, like, if you have a half-hour drive or an hour drive to work, do you really want? I don't think you actually want that, right?
Well, no, and living in Toronto, like I'm in Etobicoke, so just like you want to get anywhere, it's pretty much an hour if you're driving. It's total stress because of the traffic, and then you have to worry about wherever finding parking and things like that.
Exactly.
So it's all stress. And if you can just work from home and avoid that, that's a huge difference.
That is, yeah. And I think,
and look at these big banks and everything. The banks, the insurance companies, all the large corporations that are downtown in those office buildings, all being having no choice but to send all the employees home to work from home. The big corporations like that were never very pro working from home, at least in my experience when I worked at the bank prior.
Yeah.
And now they've realized again, it's possible.
It's possible, yeah.
People can actually do work at home and get work done.
I think that's, like I said, I think it's a great thing. It's a great thing for people to realize, because especially for business owners, bosses who had their mindset, this is how I run my company, this is how it works, and there are those type of people, and this would be the case where they would be like, oh wow, this is actually possible, because they would never see it because they're only looking this way, right?
Right.
So this opens their eyes. So that's for me, that's a great positive, because I think it frees people up to live a lifestyle more that conducive to what works for them, right?
Exactly. They can spend that time with, more time with the family instead of commuting.
Yeah.
Making dinner, cooking at home. More people are, obviously people are cooking at home a lot more with all the restaurants being closed, even though takeout was available. Everybody's cooking more, spending more time with the family, or just having time to, time for yourself instead of rushing all the time like we were before. It was always a rush. Even if you were working from home, you'd be going to different networking events or appointments or meetings or something like that. And you'd always be thinking, what's the next thing I have to do?
Yeah.
And this has forced us to, sit back and figure and look at it, slow down and actually sit with yourself and reflect on how you were living your life.
Yeah, I think that's again, and that is another great gift that we've been given with this is, I don't know where I heard that, is the great pause, right? This has been the great pause. We're all sent, it's like the universe sent us to, was it?
Mel Robbins calls it the pause.
Yeah, and it's like the universe all sent us to our rooms. It's like, you guys think about what you guys have been doing, and we've been having that time to reflect honor, and I hope, that people have been doing that, whether they wanted to or not. It's just, it happens, right? Again, not having much to do and just sitting there, and the uncertainty that is in front of us, which, by the way, we've always have been living an uncertain life. We just thought we had control, but we really never did. But,
right, exactly. We never had control. You could go out and into your car and who knows what could happen.
Exactly. But we always had that sense of security,
yeah.
of perception that everything's fine. But yeah, now we've had that time to sit, and now because we had that time, now a lot of people are thinking, maybe I don't want this, I do want this. And of course, there's also been some negative aspects of people being stuck at home, because the households have not been the greatest environments, and that's unfortunate things. But yeah, I'm saying for those who have good environments at home and have had that time, I think it's been a great awakening time for us to just figure out what is it that we want moving forward for ourselves and for our lives, right?
Right. Because it really forced us to live in the now and to be present, and we never did that. We would never actually sit there and be present. You might try to, but still your mind would be going off and thinking, oh, I got to be here in an hour, or I have to take the kids somewhere tonight, or something like that. Yeah, and so it has really made us be present in the now, and we don't know what's going to happen in terms of the future, and the past is gone, because we're not going back to what we had before and the way we were living before. It's not going to be the same. It's going to be different. So
how can you adjust, right? How can you be open to adjusting to whatever it is that the next months, years look in front of us?
Humans don't like change, right? Humans don't like change. So
although that's like the only thing that is constant, right? It is change, exactly. But we don't like it.
Exactly. And even when you talk about pivoting and getting creative in your business, as entrepreneurs, we have to do that on a regular basis. We have to adapt. We have to change. You have to grow and pivot and decide on different ways to move your business forward. And so in that respect, I kind of think it's been a little easier for entrepreneurs through this period of time versus people who are working in corporate jobs and have had to come home to work at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. But now for the corporations or for the bigger businesses, those who run those businesses, those are they've been given the chance to say, oh shoot, what do we do from here? Because everything was more linear motion for them, right? Instead of being a smaller business or an independent, entrepreneur, solopreneur. So I think that's also made them focus on how do we pivot, how do we change, how can we adjust to continue or to make a difference, make a change that will that is good for the health of the business.
The health of the business, the health of the employees, and the good of society and the environment too, going forward. Of course.
Yeah. And I think one of the things with the pivoting that I've seen, especially in my industry being in social media, is people realizing that hey, oh shoot, like I have to get online. Like I've only used this for personal reasons, and I've never done it for my business, and now I know I need to get online because the reality is that where did everybody had been going before, but especially with all the time, social media, what was it called? The usage time went up, I think 80% or something like that in those times that we were locked in the lockdown.
Oh yeah, everybody was went online.
But what I was trying to say is everybody goes on their phones and are on social media. So why aren't you not on social media, right? And I think a lot of people, business owners that I've talked to in like a networking group that I'm a part of, they're just like, oh, I have to pivot and put myself on social media, because I still want to be relevant. I still want to be top of mind. And so I think that's a huge thing that people have realized. And a lot of businesses have also shifted so that they can become a digital business also, where they can have products online. So it's, it's a great way to be forced into change, right? To grow and evolve. But we have to want to do those tiny steps to get us moving forward into that space, right?
Right. And the thing is that it's the only avenue now. I mean, things are opening up, but even still, even with stores and hair salons and nail salons and whatever opening, it's a reduced capacity because of the social distancing. So you just, it's more important than ever that you are online and developing your personal brand, as well as your business.
Of course, yeah, definitely agree.
Because all eyes are online. But the other thing is that since everybody's online, and initially there were so many offerings as everybody was putting out webinars with free information, and everything was free at the beginning because nobody felt right in charging for things. Of course, now we're 3 months down the road, so we can't. Free is not sustainable. So we need to get into figuring out what that's going to look like. But there was almost overwhelm. I know I felt overwhelmed at one point because there was just so much you could be signing up for. So you need to stand out. That's the other thing.
Correct.
You need some way to, build your community and stand out so that people know who you are.
Yeah, I think that's the point of being online and building that community, so that who knows what the future will hold. Hopefully, again, nothing like this again, but we know that more things are going to go online. It's just starting to, if you hadn't started a community online, is to start building that community and that rapport, so that people know who you are. You're top of mind, so that, like you said, when you do have that offer, they're going to come to you instead of that other person, or they just trust you already because they know you if you're communicating in the proper ways on social media. So yeah, I think it's an important thing, definitely an important thing to consider for any business owner, right? Even if you're a service based where you need to be face to face for the most part, that is your continued communication with your clients and with potential clients is online, right?
Right, exactly. Like for the hair salons and nail salons and say massage therapists, all the people who have to actually work on people in person. If any of them had a presence online prior to being shut down, then at least they had that already there to have, to be seen by their clients and continue the relationship.
Let them know what's happening
for 3 months while they're closed. Because that's, and so a lot of business owners with brick and mortar stores have also taken this time to create websites so that they can sell their products. So that way they'll have it now. So they'll have the online presence selling their products in addition to having the physical store.
The physical store, yeah. I saw one bakery, I think it was in St. Catharines, and they closed for the first couple of weeks, but then they pivoted pretty quickly and they started delivering. They set up a system where you can order online and then they would deliver, a box to your porch, and it's just how quickly they did that, right? And that's the important thing is that they were able to do that. And for some, people haven't been able to do that. Obviously, restaurants, for take-in, you can't sit down and dine and do that type of stuff, but it was the takeout that was important. So unfortunately, some of the smaller restaurants and businesses like that suffered a lot because you don't have that big presence that these bigger companies do, right?
Yeah, which is why it's important to, find ways to get creative and figure out ways to serve your community.
Definitely.
and do it quickly. I also heard a story of a fine dining restaurant out in Vancouver that was able to quickly pivot to doing 3-course gourmet meals takeout. And actually their demand was huge, so they were like selling out each day.
Wow, that's
Of course,
amazing.
they had to lay off, the wait staff and things like that,
Of
because
course.
it the volume would not be the same. But they didn't have a takeout prior to that. It was only
Correct. It was only inside,
in
yeah.
person fine dining,
Fine
right?
dining, yeah.
So yeah, no, and it actually created a nice model, which probably will continue going forward. Again, giving the options
Yeah.
to people,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and
I
same
think
with
that's great.
conferences too. People
Hmm.
having to, there's a lot of learning with technology, and people who put on conferences have figured out different ways to put an online conference together
Hmm.
quite quickly, and then it's a learning, but it'll serve them well going forward, even when there's live events that happen in the future. Because
Yeah,
with online, you have a global audience, right?
that's the whole
Distance doesn't
thing.
matter anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Location doesn't matter. Like you can, it's true, right? Those big events, if you're focused on an in-person event, and of course maybe you did social media, but your whole goal was getting people to the event, and now you've learned to put it online. Now when you can go back whenever that time is to go to do live events, you can combine the two, right? Like you can have an
Yeah,
offering where somebody comes and sits in the event physically, or somebody is streaming it online and still being a part of it. So that's again, like you said, it's just people being forced to pivot, forced to make a little bit of a change, and that will help themselves in the long run. That wouldn't be there before if this never
they
happened, right?
wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, they wouldn't
You
have
would
done
have
it.
just carried on.
Continued on, yeah, yeah.
Just like that's why this also gave people the time for whatever their when I have time, I'll do this list. And any wish list that they had for their business or for your personal life as well, which I think a lot of people got out into nature, going on daily walks that didn't do that before,
Didn't do that, yeah. A
because
lot of
they had the time, and there's no distractions, and there's nothing else to do, nowhere else to go. So getting out into nature, which is also a great thing for your health, it rejuvenates you and
yes,
restores
it
you.
does, yeah. Yeah, well, even for us, like, not that we wouldn't go on walks, but like we've been doing in the last maybe month or so, more so than before, but taking the evening, a couple evenings a night, a week, I should say, and we'll all go for a long walk around the neighborhood, and that time with the family that we never had. Instead, we'd be sitting on the couch watching TV or something like that. But now, because
Right.
we want to be outside, because we're not in and out of the house, we're not doing our normal stuff as before. It's like, no, let's go out, let's go for a walk, let's enjoy. For us, it's been having lunches and dinners in our backyard and on our patio, right?
Mhm.
Almost every day. And I think it was the last 2 days we've been having rain in our area, and we've been eating inside. And the kids were even like, "Oh, this feels weird. How do we?" Because they're not used to sitting inside the house and eating, because we've been outside. So it's all these little things that have come up that are a blessing, really, that we wouldn't get a chance to have because of this. Again, not that we needed this, but because of it, we get to see the
Yeah,
good side in it, right? The good
yeah,
side in what's been happening.
and that's true. And same thing is seeing everybody come together as a community. There's
Mm-hmm.
been a lot of people wanting to just help each other, reaching out to neighbors, reaching out to elderly, or people who are living alone, or even just reaching out to family members. There's been a
Yeah,
lot
that's
of
definitely
community
helped.
building,
Mm-hmm.
and that is something that hopefully continues, because we are this whole shutdown, really it was like a global event, that affected all parts of the world and everybody, regardless of your status. Didn't matter. It doesn't matter how much money you have. That's not going to stop you, make you any more safe. You still had to be isolated in your house. So
Yeah.
this really shows us that we're all you know, we're all people and we're all part of this world, and we don't own the world, right? We just live here.
Inhabit
the earth,
it.
we don't own the earth.
Yeah.
And that's another story. We were just thinking of all the natural disasters and everything like this that were happening on a regular basis. It just, the earth really needed a break.
And it's definitely gotten a lot of benefit from it. Our environment, I think even the ozone layer repaired itself a bit. I've read about that. So many great stories in that sense in the environment that's happened. And one of the things, touching upon what you said, was like, even for the virus, like, think about it, regardless of how it started or where it started in one point and it traveled the whole world. See how we're all interconnected, like how, you know, something that started in the other side of the world you never thought of is now
thought it was going to necessarily come here,
but we're so connected because we interact, and what one person does on that side of the world affects the person on the other side of the world. And it's not just with the virus. This is for a broader span of things, but it's always like that, right? We impact our choices. We think doesn't impact a lot of people, but it does. There is a ripple effect, right? So I think that's been maybe an eye-opening thing for some people to say, wow, we are connected, so connected.
It really shows you that what you do impacts others.
Yes. Right. Just even like right now, say even in our area of Ontario, sure, we can be a certain amount, like the cases per day kind of thing. But you know, if a large group of people start doing opposite of what is the, you know, what we're told to do, or what is the restrictions, or they're not following the guidelines, then that's going to affect all these other people, right? Because it could cause the virus to spread and all this stuff. So like even in our little, it's not little, but even our space of Ontario, you know, we see that just a little bit makes a difference, like a little connection. One thing affects another thing, and
exactly. And what one person does affects others. So it really makes us be more conscious of our own decisions and the decisions that we make, and the impacts that result.
Definitely. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's definitely the case as well. So I think there's going to be a lot of things that are going to shift. You know, people have really figured out what is important to them. And even as things are opening up right now, I don't feel compelled to be rushing off to the mall just because it's open. It's more, and even you know, even going to the grocery store, because it was such a big event and big ordeal at the beginning when you had to line up and wait and line up there and all that. It makes you think twice before you go and do things now. That's what I find. And also you just realize the things that you might have taken for granted before.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh,
because you didn't think, you know, who would have thought you wouldn't be allowed to go have a coffee with somebody in a coffee shop? It wouldn't be anything you'd be thinking of. So I think that we have realized what's important to us, and better ways to do things as well.
Definitely. I think an important part moving forward is respecting each other's decisions on how we decide to proceed. Like you're saying, you know, don't feel compelled to go out and do this. And an important thing is to realize that, again, we're all going through this for the first time, and everybody's, for their own personal reasons, will do things a certain way, hopefully within within, what's going to make that's safe, but
Okay, yeah.
still, one person will rush to the mall and one person will say, I'm not going to the mall. And so therefore we have to be able to move forward, and like the worst thing we can do is shame people and bring people down for doing things opposite of our viewpoint or our perspective or our beliefs, right? And just realize that everybody is doing things that makes that is comfortable for them. As long as we're not doing it, we're putting somebody else's life at risk. Like I've seen a lot of things that is obviously not a good thing that people are doing, but it's just respecting people, because again, we're going through this all for the first time, and so we have to be kind to each other as we move forward.
Yeah, kindness is the most important thing, and I've seen a lot of judgment over this period of time as well, like you say, in terms of people judging others for the way that they're dealing with this, but we're all dealing with it in different ways, in our own way, what's best for us. And the main thing is that we need to be kind to one another, kind and compassionate.
We have to be united moving forward. We're all trying to move forward or move through this in the best way possible, the most healthy way possible. So it's like, why are you going to bring that person down? Because again, as long as they're not putting anybody else's health at risk, then let them decide whether they want to stay home for another month or two or whatever it is, right?
Or
go out, right? As long as
they're safe.
They're safe, right? I think so. That's an important thing to consider for everyone, and even for businesses. I would hope that just because things open up and say like it's an office, like hopefully business owners start giving people their employees the option to stay home if they want to stay home for whatever, because again, forcing people to do something that they're uncomfortable with, because say, they don't want to be in a group of people, even though that they might take precautions, but they are not comfortable. So why not just continue? They're working from home anyways. Why not just let them continue doing that, right?
And I think most businesses are doing that. I don't think there's a lot of them that are saying nobody's going back till next year as well. So and with the kids not the kids, well, the school was canceled, but there's very limited options in terms of summer camps and everything this year too. So you can't be sending employees back if the kid has, kids are
everybody's home. Yeah.
So no, that's what it is. You have to respect everybody's decision, because this is it's really a huge it's like a trauma that we're going through, really. That's what it is, because it's nothing that we've been through before, and nobody knows, and nobody has experience going through this kind of situation. So
correct.
We need to be compassionate, and like you say, kindness is the most important thing.
It is the most important thing, yeah. And again, we don't know what that person, why that person is doing what they're doing or believes what they believe, but let them have their viewpoint and just be open to it. And one of the things that have come up, I've seen, especially on the social media side, is that everybody attacking another person because they're this side of the fence, right? Or like give an example of masks, people who will want to wear a mask and people who will not want to wear masks. And it's like, like, be okay with both sides. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the more divisive, the more that we separate people, the worse off it is for humanity in the whole. Always has been, but especially in times like this where everybody is trying to do their best to sort of stay afloat mentally, physically, financially. Bringing people down is not going to help anybody. And you think it might help you, but reality, what you're doing is you're just taking your fears and you're just throwing it out there. You're just you think you're protecting yourself, or you don't consciously know you're doing that. So I think that's a huge thing.
Yes.
For everybody.
Yeah. No, we need to come together. We need to come together so that we do get through this, and so that we don't prolong it. definitely that's key.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kevin. I think we've been on here for a while, so I
Yeah.
will wrap it up. And it was great talking to
It
you.
was great talking to you too. Yeah.
And I, look forward to seeing you in person sometime in the future. Who knows when that's
Hopefully,
going
yeah,
to
hopefully
be.
there will be an event that we'll meet up at and
Yeah,
see each
yeah,
other, and we finally give each other a hug and shake each other's hands and
yeah.
be able to come together in that aspect. And I believe that we will, and it's just a matter of time, and all we need is patience. That's what we need right now.
Yes, true. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. And I will put your information underneath this interview when I put
Awesome.
it up
Thank
as
you.
well.
Thank
And
you.
stay safe and healthy and enjoy
You as well.
your summer. All
Yes, you
right.
as well. Okay.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you.